Notice he says, woman, why do you involve me? I'm not the host. It's not my dinner party. I'm not the one that ran out. Why do you involve me? Again, fascinating that he says it to her. Why do you involve me? My hour has not yet come. Now notice verse 5.
His mother said to the servants, do what he tells you.
Right there. Now think about this. Mary's aware of an issue. She brings that issue to Jesus. And she says to them, they're out of wine. Everybody would know what that means. Jesus has this conversation. Why are you involving me at this point? My hour has not yet come. And notice this, there's no sense of a debate. There's none. She doesn't say, well, I believe that she doesn't do any of that. What does she do? She turns to the servants and she says what? Do whatever he tells you. Now think about this. I'll be honest with you. For years growing up, I have always thought that kind of meant that she was forcing his hand. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think that's what she was doing. At all. What? And leaving it with him. That on the one hand, she's made him aware of the issue. Thereby, she's expressing her faith that he can do something about it. She doesn't try to convince him. She doesn't say, well, can't you do this for your mama? She's not manipulating him. She's presented the request. She's told him. He's responded. She then directs the servants, do whatever he tells you to do. And leaves it at that. And she's done with this story. Remember, we say, pay attention. She's done. She's aware of a need. She brings it to Jesus. She says it in such a way that, can you move? And then she turns it over to him. I'll be honest with you. To me, it's a sign of faith. And I say, faith that he will do what needs to be done in the situation, not necessarily what she wants him to do. And you and I have got to get to the point in our lives many times that we go before God and we turn it over to him. We turn it over to him. This aspect of, it wasn't manipulation, it was, I've made the petition known to you and I'm leaving it with you. I'm leaving it with you. And now I'm backing away. I like that about her. She has confidence. She goes, she sees a need. She goes to someone that can do something about it. But she goes, she makes the petition, and she leaves it 100% with him. Do whatever he says, which opens the fact that if he says nothing, then do nothing. But whatever he says, do it. So that's Mary. Notice here, pick up.
Nearby stood six stone water jars, the kind used by Jews for ceremonial washing, each holding from 20 to 30 gallons.
By the way, it's very easy to miss over this. It's very easy to miss over what we just read. Can you read that again?
Nearby stood 6 stone water jars, the kind used by the Jews for ceremonial washing, each holding from 20 to 30 gallons.
Now, whatever he tells you to do it. Over there are 6 stone water jars. not clay. Stone. Each holding capable of holding between 20 to 30 gallons. So let's say it's 20 gallons times 2. That's what? 120 gallons over there. However, we often miss how many? 6. Think about that. What is a lot, however? What? One for each day. Okay. However, we so often miss. In Scripture, 6 signifies what? Incompleteness. What's the complete number? 7. 7 is the complete number. 6 is incomplete. So on the one hand, there are 6, not 7, there are 6 stone water jars for the purpose of what? Ceremonial washing. Don't miss that either. There are 6 incomplete stone jars over there, hold 20 or 30 gallons, which are used for the purpose of what? Ceremonially washing. Which, by the way, as we ceremonially wash, as we go through this, it's a constant reminder of what? That we need it. That we need it. That we're not what? That we're not clean. That we need it. My mom used to taught me, before I come to the dinner table, always wash my hands. And when I go even down, I wash my hands before I sit down at the dinner table. It's a constant reminder. My hands are dirty. And if I can't wash my hands, I can hardly eat, enjoy my meal because, oh, my hands are dirty. It's a constant reminder. So Jesus points out to 6 stone water jars that are used for constantly reminding. And by the way, it's the law. Don't miss this. It's the law. The ceremonial washing. It's the law. But as you and I understand through the New Testament, the law just reveals what? The law reveals how imperfect we are. The law reveals that we can't live up to it. The law reveals that we are constantly in a state of what? Impurity. God has a standard, that God is holy, and we understand that on our own, apart from God, we can't live up to that measure. It's a constant sign. So that 6 incomplete number of jars sitting there is a constant reminder of the constant cleaning, the constant washing that has to take place because constantly we're what? Dirty and in need and incomplete. You got to love Scripture. You got to love Scripture. You got to love Scripture. So often we want to read to the next thing that we miss over something that's significant. That Jesus is there, and it's at that moment that he takes an incomplete number that shows that we are in constant need of purity and purification. And there's a need that is represented here. There's a need already that we show that we are incomplete, that we are lacking, that we don't have. And Jesus looks and he sees those 6 stone water pots used for ceremonially cleansing. And he says what? What's he say, Miss Beverly? Verse 7.
Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water." So they filled them to the brim.
Now, the servants come into play. Remember, whatever he tells you to do it. So, Jesus looks. He sees those. And he tells the servants, fill the jars with water. Not fill them with grapes. Get all the grapes you can find. Fill it. Fill the jars with water. So they fill them to the brim. By the way, think about this. That had to take a while. They don't have a faucet. Now think about it. If I went to my kitchen sink to try to fill up 120 gallons, think how long that would take me and take you. Just even go into a kitchen sink. They had to go to a well. Carry them in, pour it in, go back out. This takes what? This takes time. We read through it so quickly that we forget the length of time. And labor. And we mentioned here, because in the same way that Mary said, I've brought it to you, now I'm leaving it with you. I'm trusting you, whatever you do. To now, all of a sudden, the servants that know, but they're the ones that are getting the bulk of the what? The work. The work. They're having to go back and forth, getting the water, filling for 120 gallons that they're doing. If it's 120 gallons, and let's say they had something roughly a 5-gallon bucket that they could drop in, that's 24 trips. That's at the low, 20 gallons. Right, that's at the low. Exactly. So 24 trips to fill. That's right. That's right. Exactly. However, it's work that's involved. Seemingly for something that does not, at this point, make what? Any sense to the servants. Because we understand this. This is the first miracle. So this is not something that people have seen him do things before. This is where he had told them, go and fill. Jesus said to the servants, fill the jars with water, so they filled it to the brim. Verse 8.
Then he told them, now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet.
Oh, now this gets good. Because now you've done the work. They've been faithful in the work. But they know it's what? They know it's water that's in there. And now Jesus says, by the way, the servants are also well aware that there's no what? That there's no wine. Then he told them, now draw some out and take it to who? To the master of the banquet. So now, not only have you done the work, you've done that, okay, for whatever reason. But now all of a sudden we're to take out, we know that we're out of wine, and you want us now to draw out the water that we just put in. Now, draw some of that out and to take it to the guy that was in charge of making sure and letting everyone know how things were going. Take some to him. Remember I told you, when we go through this story, you and I want to understand, sometimes we're Mary, sometimes we're servants, sometimes we may be the master, sometimes we may be the bridegroom. So here these servants, they've done the work. It doesn't make sense to them. They've done the work, and now Jesus says, draw some out, and take it to the guy. You who know what it is, take it to him. And what?
They did so.
Right there. They did so. Mary makes the petition, brings the request, and leaves it. These servants, they know the issue. They're the ones that have done the work. They're the ones that have been told to do something that doesn't really make sense at all to them at this point. It's water. And take it to him. And they did so. Now, verse 9.
And the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine. He did not realize where it had come from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew.
Now, we have the master here. So, these servants, they're the ones that have done all the work. They're the ones that Jesus says, now take some and take it over. Draw some out. Take it to the master of the banquet. So they do. They're going over there. They go to the master of the banquet, and he tastes it. As part of his job is. He tastes it. And it says here that the water had been turned into wine. He did not realize where it had come from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. The bridegroom has a part in this miracle. However, he's oblivious to it. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. Again, I say, sometimes we're Mary, sometimes we're servants, sometimes we're the master. He has a part to play, but he's not aware of what's going on. And yet he's the one that will make the pronouncement. He's the one that will make the pronouncement.